right, you guys. Devontae Friga has been playing exceptionally well in 1v1 space ever since his last 1v1 loss on a pay-per-view TNC01 that was. And some people still won't let him forget that. B. Ellis and Millie, why is that, you think?
B, kick us off.
Man, I think it was the build-up to the one-on-one with him and Nas. If it been like was it a 3 or 4 month build-up? I believe it was a 3 or 4 month build-up.
3 to 4 sounds about right.
And I think in one of Friga's videos, he had the death of Nas, right? And he had like a countdown with it. And when you doing stuff like that, I think people's expectations rise a lot. But what I will say is Friga been hooping since though. And like, all right, so we was just in where were we? Cincinnati. He had a 15-0 deficit going into halftime. And all of us
15-2.
15-2. We looked at each other like,
is it happening again?
It's
Is
better
it
not.
happening again?
What? So don't even.
February 1st.
No
way, right?
No.
Is this about to happen again? And then he goes off. And then him and Jay Horn got this little thing going on. And he goes crazy then. And it just seems like I'm looking at the comments. And it's always why he didn't do that to Nas? Or damn, you need your rematch with Nas then if you're going to keep acting like that. You ain't talk like that to Nas with the whoop. And I'm like, people need to get past that at some point. And my question, y'all, is at what point do they get past it?
Mills?
It's going to take some time. That's just the reality of the situation. These things do take time. Yeah. I can actually compare it, and Scotty can attest to this. Scotty in the comments will relate to this because he was with us during this time. When we played the East-West game for the first time, there was so much build up to that game, so much hype, anticipation for a year, and they 3-0'd us.
Yeah.
And it took us like, even though we're really successful on the viewership side of things, it took us a while before all the comments weeded out of like y'all couldn't do that against the West Coast. And you know what I mean? The reality of the situation is sometimes people think that basketball players on social media are like, they could be in the NBA.
Right.
And so there are fans out there that was like, Friga is literally unbeatable. Whereas we know Friga's a really good basketball player, but he's human, you know? And so that was broken for some people, I think. The fact that, you know, he's like, he went from like being a hero to some people to like, it cracked reality for them a little bit, if that makes sense. It's just going to take time to kind of get his respect back. I don't want to be too long-winded here. I'm going to pass it off. But the last thing I'll say is I just think it was a bad matchup. I don't look at him any differently.
Yeah.
Well, you can't just say that and not explain. Why do you think it was a bad matchup, though?
I look at Friga as a North-South player. When he goes East-West, he's not that kind of player. Some people do that well. And I just think he's his best when he's going North-South. And I felt like he was running into a freight train in Nas. So it was literally just a matchup. It's funny because a lot of East-West players can give Nas issues. He can struggle to slide his feet at times if you get outside his frame. I think Friga just got too East and West, and that's not really his game when he's playing his best.
Yeah, you guys hit the nail on the head, man. I don't even want to be too long-winded on that topic of the Nas versus Friga thing. I think more so, I want to pivot this to the Friga and Jay Horn after watching it. I noticed a few things. So my thing with Jay Horn was he's a phenomenal basketball player. But the more I've watched him, every shot he takes is a tough shot. Every shot. And he doesn't utilize that jab three enough in which he can shoot the ball. And I think he can utilize even more. And with Friga, he has that jab three so much in his back pocket that he can kind of play with you. I mean, he can kind of play the game and manipulate it the way he wants to because he knows he has that sidestep three or that jab three that he can pull out anytime that he wants because he's a jump shooter. He jumps pretty high, he elevates pretty high, so it's hard to contest a shot. With Friga, though, I actually seen a little bit change in his game since that Nas game. Now he's actually working on counters. He's actually being more methodical with the way he plays. Now, I'm not saying if he plays Nas again, he'll beat Nas. I just think Nas proved like it's levels to this joint. And we talked about that in the TNC01 post game after the event happened. But in my personal opinion, it's going to take time with Friga to to eclipse it or whatever the case may be, that moment. But at the same time, though, I think we kind of have to, you're only as good as your last game. And we kind of have to be honest and kind of judge him based on what he's been putting out since then. Like we can't look back and say, well, it's been a year. That's enough time now. Like, there's no time scale on, in my personal opinion. I think you judge it based on the last game, and you kind of just move forward that way.
Well, a guy that has Moon and Isote on his resume in the next chapter era is getting treated as if he's and listen, I'm not being no Friga defender. If this was Hoodie Kel, I'd be saying the same thing.
Right.
If this was Cam So Smooth, I'd be saying the same thing. He can't have guys like that on his resume whose Moon is in some people's top 5, and we all know what Isote brings. Bro, come on, bro.
That's why I say to me, it was just a matchup thing.
Yeah,
it was just a matchup thing. That's how I look. That is a really bad matchup for Friga. Friga has a lot of matchups that are advantageous for him. Like I said, if he's able to go north-south on you, he's gonna have success against you. And if you eliminate that, you have an edge defensively. And yeah, I mean, it was just a bad matchup. I don't look at him any differently.
So is it going to take 10 games? Is it going to take 15 games? How many games is Friga going to have to run off in a row for guys to? All right, it could be this too. Maybe he needs to play Uncle Scoop. Maybe he needs to play a Nesco. Maybe he needs to play guys like that in order to gain some of that respect back from the viewer that watches every video, because there may be some viewers that are casual watchers that still have the utmost respect for Friga and his game. But for the viewer that goes from channel to channel and doesn't miss a video, is kind of like, oh, no, I've been watching here, and Friga's not on that level. So he's gonna have to get these matchups set up with a Scoob and a Nesco for him to gain some of that back.
Yeah. Do you think here's a question for you guys. Do you think he's chasing that kind of validation or respect? Because Friga is an incredible content creator. He kind of represents what I think a mindset is coming into the basketball community on YouTube. If you play at this level, I'm not talking like the Jester, Cash Nasty side. I'm talking like if you want to be a good hooper and make content, Friga has the best balance of it. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of, he also has put so much work into the creative side. And I actually think he's not really chasing that much validation and respect in the way that you're maybe referring to be. I don't know if he cares to go beat one of them to get some respect back. I think he's running his own race.
I think two things can be true. I think he is running his own race, and I do think he is not chasing respect, but he wants it. Because if that's the case, why in the highlights on the Instagram reel that he had of his one-on-one game against Jay Horn, he looked directly at us and said, y'all forgot who I am? And that wasn't a YouTube antic.
No, I'm not. I don't think Friga's antics at all. I'm just saying there's a distinction between chasing and wants it. Anytime Friga's playing, he's not going to lack to match your intensity. I don't doubt any of Friga's realness. He performs every time he's no fluke. He's a really good player. I don't think, I agree with you that he wants it because he is a competitor and gets to that level. He's an ultimate competitor, but he's not going to chase it. And so he may not ever get it from a certain group in the community that, is super into the purity of the one-on-one scene and winning.
I do agree with you with that. Chasing and wanting two totally different things.
Yeah.
Two totally different things. So
yeah, I think I look at it from a different lens a little bit. I see more so, I think he's gaining respect by not hibernating. Some people would take a loss like that and they would just kind of just tuck their tail a little bit and do the stuff behind the scenes, like just focus on their own personal content. But he still came to the whole season as part owner of a brand, fighting for his way for pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? He may not get a pay-per-view nod, but he's still part of the brand. So it's like he's still in the front lines, just competing and not letting that deter anything. Like, I think we've, been witnesses to people in life who've took a loss, and some people don't take losses well at all. I think that's kind of a good man of how you take a loss, and then it's respectable to see how you bounce back from it, win or lose. In terms of your next matchup, if you win or lose, like you just keep fighting a good fight, man. I think not even just for Friga, I think in general, I think a lot of people in the YouTube space and the one community have done that. Like even to Mike Hard, he took a bad loss. I mean, not a bad loss, but he took a loss after, him and Cam popping it, and then comes back and plays Kel, takes another loss, but he still come back to a 3v3, plays phenomenal. You know what I mean? So it's like he plays through the whole season. So it's just a test. Like, to these guys, man, we can't fathom enough, or like we can't even understand how they feel about certain things because they go out there and compete and they shell a lot of their emotions a lot. Like how they're really feeling because they just want to go out there and put on the best show for the people that are watching, regardless if they're getting embarrassed or they're doing the embarrassing part of
the
ass whooping. So
yeah,
I got no respect for these guys.
That's where I think it's important to note that the space that we're in. I've always looked at it as I want to be well-rounded. Like when I was hooping, I want to be a good hooper, of course, but I also want to, like you said, so take my losses well. I want to grow as a person. I want to grow also on the creative side. So for me, when I stepped into this space, it became more about you get spread a little bit thin, or more so thin than some people just train. Some people are just trying to win one-on-one games. And when you dedicate your life to that, those people are going to rise to the top.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that with Friga, it's like, oh, well, if I have a matchup, great. I'll pop it. I'll compete at the highest level. But at the end of the day, he's not 100% dedicated to getting better at basketball. He has too much on his plate. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think he's dedicated to getting better.
Oh, he's dedicated, but there's levels to that dedication. Like he has
comparing that to the way Nesco approaches the game.
I just think
they approach the game two totally different ways in terms of, and I do believe this. I think they approach the game two totally different ways in terms of training. I think the way I saw Nesco, he wakes up at 5:30 in the morning. He gets in the gym. He probably goes back to the gym.
Those guys might be, like Azay. He might be in the gym 3 times a day.
Yeah,
Friga potentially can't even do that if he wanted to. It's just a different life. I'm not saying one life is right, one life is not. I'm just saying with Friga, I don't think his focus is fully where the other guy's focus is 100% one place.
Regardless of if they have a matchup or not. Regardless if they got a matchup or not, Nesco, Zay, them boys in the gym.
And that's what I'm saying. As a basketball fan, or a basketball player, fan, whatever you want to call it, I have the ultimate respect for that grind. I mean, neither grind is necessarily harder than the other, but it's just more so reality of Friga. And this kind of goes back to, I don't think he's chasing that, because if he was, I think he would like set the camera down and, just fully like go dark mode.
Where do you guys have Friga ranked right now?
Outside the top 7.
One part of me wants to drop him to like 10, right? 10, 11. But the other part of me is like, don't overreact. This was a bad matchup. And I firmly feel that way. I feel like that matchup was potentially the worst matchup that you could throw at Friga. And I'm not going to penalize you too much if you have one really bad matchup. I don't think it's a good indication of how good he is. I don't weigh it as much as other people do, although it was a butt whooping, but I still can compartmentalize. Does he drop this far because this specific matchup just wasn't good for him? Because who would you have around 10? Let's 8, 9, 10-ish.
Cam.
Do you have him above Cam?
Yeah.
Right. So I think like I don't want to drop him too low because I feel like it's an overreaction because of one player, which is Nas.
Well, where do we have him beforehand?
He had a few losses like that.
Where did I have him prior?
I'm saying, where do we have him before that?
I had him at 2. Before the Nas game, I had him at 2.
I think I had him like 4, 5-ish, 4.
I forget what I had him. I think I had him at 3 or 4.
I would say he's probably like 8 now.
Yeah, I got him at 9.
8-ish, 9-ish. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I think I agree with Sel. Top 7's probably locked right now.
But this is why you made a great point, Millie. He got humanized. Because prior to those games, it was the Minnesota game. It was Moon twice. It was Isote. It was the Detroit game where he made homeboy fall twice. He was looking like he was coming into a form that could actually compete with Nas at that level. And this is where, pivoting to the J. Horn game a little bit more, I thought he was going to be a lot more physical than what he was in that game defensively. And I know he probably can't slide his feet and be as physical as a Nas was in that game. But just watching the Nas game and seeing how he, you know what I'm saying, his defensive game plan against Friga, I thought Jay Horn could have mimicked that a little bit more than what he did. Friga just kind of, that was an efficient game for Friga.
Yeah. And didn't he say, what did he say in the video? He said, y'all must have forgot who I am. Your emotions want to be like, oh, he's trash. But it's like, be logical. Be logical here. He's had a lot of wins. You saw what he just did at Jay Horn. Jay Horn's playing his best basketball.
I think with Jay Horn, like I said earlier, it was every shot he takes is tough. So it can kind of weigh in your legs a little bit. He's using 3 to 4 dribbles every single time. And his game is such a pace. Stop, go. You know, he has a really paced game, which takes a lot of energy out of you. And then you have to guard someone like a jump shooter who I think it's a tough task for Jay Horn. Like, the more I look at it, like on paper, after what we saw in that season, like, okay, this would be a good matchup.
For sure. Go ahead.
Wait, we can't ignore this. Also, another factor why Jay Horn lost that game, he was too worried about the refs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was so checked out. Friga was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you worry about every single play. So Friga's like, I don't even have to talk trash to you. You already worried about something outside of this game. I already got you beat. I think that's where he kind of went wrong as well. Like, so if they ran it back, I think Jay Horn should definitely take a different approach by not talking delay every possession.
I agree.
So does the win for Friga do anything for him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, he didn't play he didn't. This is okay. This is being blatantly honest. It wasn't like the Rob game in San Francisco. He played a person that's respected in the community. And he handled him pretty well up until that late run at the end. So, like, Rob's game versus Tajay, you know what I'm saying? This is no disrespect. It was like a damn, who is this guy? Didn't look good at all. Couldn't even see if he was really good. You know what I mean? So, but then you have Friga playing Jay Horn, which you've seen Jay Horn play before. He's been on the scene. And I think that was a respectable win for Friga.
No doubt.
What is it? All right. So for Jay Horn's been getting a lot of good matchups. You think about his Warzone matchup.
Yeah.
Burke. You get a Friga. I feel like he should play a guy. I don't even know who Jay Horn should play next, potentially.
I would like to see him play Burke. I know it's kind of an odd matchup, but stylistically, they played at Warzone, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them play now, though. I think it would be a much better game now. They're both playing really well. And it's just kind of styles make fights. Burke has his own style. Jay Horn has his own style. It would be kind of interesting. Something I'd want to watch for sure.
I'll say I would like to see Jay Horn and Keyshawn.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Talk to me nice.
I think those styles would, two huskier guards. I think that style would kind of actually make a lot of sense.
Tough shot makers.
Tough shot makers are not super duper fast. They're both pretty strong. I think that'd be a great matchup, my personal opinion.
So Friga, who's his next opponent?
Well, he's gonna have to get a pay-per-view opponent if he wants to get his next opponent. I think that's what has to be for him. On the season, his only way he gets a pay-per-view, I think, is if they vote in the Jay Horn matchup, or they vote in like a Friga versus Kel rematch to finish it, or something like that. I don't know anything else outside of that.
I think the Kel finishing that game is the only potential matchup that I see for Friga right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him play Jay Horn again.
If he wants to jump back up there, he's gonna have to play a Scoob or something like that.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think him and Scoob would be a barn burner. I really do, because Scoob cannot be as physical as Nas was. I really don't. Now he has the game plan in order and what to do, force him east and west, like Millie said. But I don't think, bro, Nas was like this on defense. Scoob cannot do that. Right. Scoob won't be able to do that on Friga. No. Yeah. I think it'll be much closer, obviously. 37.
I think this is something that we could kind of lead to the comments. Like, they're going to be chatting anyways. I think they can kind of give us an idea who they would like to see Friga play next.
Definitely.
Leave it up to them. I think this is a great conversation starter for them to continue it.
Yeah. I love it.
Like and subscribe, fellas.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.